Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Deep Texas Inside Live Deep Dive. Joined by Mr. Ian Boyd. Look, he was excited by that intro. He's got a haircut. He did a chemical peel. He got a facial. He was complaining that he needed a me day, and he finally got one. And now he's going to give you a you day with his insight and his wisdom. Ian, how the heck are you?
I'm doing good. We got a lot to talk about today. We're gonna dive deep into what we can learn from these scrimmage reports.
That's right. We're 9 days out from Fan Day.
Oh my gosh. Let's come back to that. Let's come back to that.
Let's replace our old school spring scrimmage, and we're going to be old men yelling at clouds here about that. But first, we want to talk about the place to go talk about Longhorn sports, and that place is Inside Texas. 50% off of this fan bundle. But there's more, Ian. Talk about a bundle. The ultimate Inside Texas tailgate giveaway brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors in anticipation of the great Texas A&M baseball series this weekend. You can win Blackstone Grill, Yeti Cooler, 2 tumblers, 2 chairs, a canopy. Go to Inside Texas Instagram to enter. Link in the description. Winner is going to be picked after the Texas A&M game. And I'm not eligible to win.
Yeah.
Neither
I know. I want all of those things.
I want every single item there.
Yeah. Those are all Yetis are awesome. Every time I go to somebody's house and they're cooking something on a Blackstone, it's going to be really good.
I want the canopy.
The canopy also invaluable.
Big increase in asymmetrical warfare and drones, Ian. Canopy is invaluable for several reasons.
That's obviously the first thing I thought of.
That's the first thing everyone thinks of.
The other thing is that you get your mobile shade in the tailgate arena, which is nothing to scoff at either.
Well, mobile shade is one of the things that Ian and I provide when we play OU every year, but we're not quite there yet. And we've already got people in the chat saying, let's go, Paul and Ian, the IT goats. Goat has a double meaning. We're hoping you mean capital G-O-A-T, but we also would accept the other one as well. Do you like goats, Ian? Actual goats?
Yeah.
I do too.
Right.
I think they're underrated.
Great. They're great for cleaning out. If you have like a just overgrown area on your property or even your yard, you get a few goats in there for a couple hours and it's wiped out.
Yeah, and they're actually pretty friendly, and they like to stand on tall objects. Did you know that?
Yeah. Are they the ones that they're always cooking on those spinning meat cooker deals,
Yeah, also good to eat.
They taste delicious.
I spent some time in Turkey, and I did a lot of that, where they shave the goat meat off the thing and put it in some bread and hand it to you. Can't beat it. Well, hey, let's talk about evaluating what we've got and learned so far through the spring. Got to tell you, Ian, we've had a very rosy and optimistic spring. So I want to start very big picture in general, and then we can start digging into position groups. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to make a big general observation. All right. Oh, no. The chat. Oh. Already questioning your farm understanding, and they think you're a city boy, Ian.
Did not grow up with goats. I did grow up on a little bit of a rural environment. So take that, learned hat.
Take that, learned hat. Don't ever call out Ian again. All right, big general observation. It's sounding like, based on what Sark is saying, that he thinks this might be his most talented team. He's also saying that this might be one of his deepest teams. I thought in this new era of the portal and NIL that you can't be frontline talented and also deep. Or have we struck some perfect balance? Or are we getting some sort of misinformation campaign? Are we being propagandized, Ian?
Can it be just a little of both? Or can it be a little of the propagandized, but mostly I think this team is extremely talented. So I think it's plausible that this is the most talented team Sark has had. That seems almost obvious, right?
Yeah, I think I know the other contender, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe that's a future show. I'm sorry.
Who do you think it'd be? Who do you think the contender is there?
23, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually debating in my head between the two, but I think 23.
Last year had, as we are going to see in this upcoming draft, last year did not have its most talented players were not in their contract year pre-draft seasons.
Yep.
And this year they are, and we're hoping that makes all the difference, essentially. But you got Simmons and Canoe and McDonald on the defense that all seem like early round draft picks. And then potentially the number 1 pick in the draft, Arch Manning. Early round tackle, Trevor Gooseby.
Yeah.
Maybe early round receiver, Cam Coleman.
Oh, I think for sure.
Maybe early round receiver, Wingo, depending on how his skill set expands.
Are you defining early round as like second, third? Or do you mean, are you reserving that to first?
I guess like first two.
Yeah,
first 2 rounds.
I could see Wingo going in the second.
Yeah.
If he has a good year.
As I listed out, actually, I'm not sure that it's obviously more talented than the 23 or 24. But I think the top line talents are the best they've had. Like Simmons is probably the best defensive player Sark has had. And Arch Manning is probably the best offensive player that Sark has had.
Yeah, well, I think that's fair. But I think what's unique about that is beyond the top line talent, it looks like we're pretty deep at a number of positions where depth is pretty critical.
Yes.
Cornerback, defensive tackle, edge. The defensive line seems ridiculously deep. I'm amazed we retained all these guys. Linebacker, I wouldn't say is deep, but corner looks very deep. And we've got guys that we like who have been waiting in the wings, right, that are already showing out. And then a true freshman like Samari Matthews comes on campus, and people are like, dude's a condor and he's a walking turnover. Like if you throw the ball near him, he just snags it and takes off. So that's really interesting to me. Wide receiver, we're pretty deep, man. And I'm not accustomed to that. Did you not like the idea of me saying wide receivers deep?
My dog is like digging behind me.
Okay.
I don't know what is going on.
He's digging. I agree.
Receiver is a lot deeper than it normally is, especially because they lost some of the up and comers, and they still have McCutcheon, and they still have like Mosley. Almost seems like an afterthought in a lot of equations, and then Bishop seems like he might be the best player on the team next year, or the year after this one. So
27.
So there you got to make room for him too.
Yeah, I mean. Running back suddenly is deep, not only because we got 2 high-profile transfers, and Malik Brown is consistently impressed. I've heard fine things about some others, but Derek Cooper, the true freshman, is getting a ridiculous amount of hype to the degree to which I don't even want to feed it. But people are talking about him like, not only is the guy playing, he might be difficult to get off the field. So we're just going to have to see. But it's just very interesting that we're being told in today's NIL environment, you can't have elite frontline talent and depth. You sort of have to choose.
Yeah.
Even Indiana last year, and you and I think Indiana was like amazing and what an all-timer story in college football history. Truth is, if they had a couple more injuries, they can't make the championship game. They just didn't have that depth, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, other than us, who has that kind of frontline talent and depth combo? Maybe Georgia, maybe Ohio State. I don't know.
It does feel like we're entering an era where injury luck is a little bit of a larger factor in this. Not just because the expanded playoff, but just because so many teams have trouble stacking talent the same way.
All right, I want to offer. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ian.
No, I was going to expand on that. Let's actually talk about what we're going to talk about today instead.
All right, I was going to offer something I'm a little leery about that I do want to know if this is is this a secret blessing or is it actually a concern? Arch Manning has missed most of this spring. He's taken mental reps, but and I think he has been able to throw quite a bit.
Yeah.
But is that a negative, one, in terms of building chemistry with his receivers and just Arch fully coming into his own in his last contract year? Or has that proven to be a blessing and we realize that maybe Lacy can fill in if Arch has to miss a game or two, God forbid, knock wood, wherever you are. I don't want to do it or my dogs will go insane. But has that actually been a blessing in the sense that now we know that we've got a guy who's capable and he can go in there and run the offense and we'll be just fine?
I think it's been a blessing to the team. I think it's been a curse to us in trying to parse scrimmage reports and various reports that are like, it's back and forth. And Samari Matthews picked off 20 passes today.
Yeah.
And you're like, is he good or is like Diabell playing jackpot? Like what exactly is going on there? I think I'm not worried about Arch Manning missing reps. I think he's pretty far along in his development. I would usually say there's not diminishing returns for quarterbacks getting experience in game reps, but he's still getting all those like 7-on-7s and like maybe like some of the super safe team stuff. And he's getting a lot of the normal offseason throwing in. So I'm not too worried about that. And then KJ Lacy's emergence and the things that we're hearing about what he's doing and how he's doing it are extremely encouraging to me. He really does seem like he could be the next Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean that's rarefied air for a college quarterback. Not necessarily projecting his NFL potential, but
right.
That's I really liked Bryce Young in college.
Yes. Yeah.
Really good quarterback, and I'm not big on smaller quarterbacks, but holy cow, have they had a renaissance? I mean. But beyond Diego Pavia, you got Damon Williams, Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss, I don't think is 6 feet tall. And I mean, it's been pretty remarkable.
Julian Sayin. He's not been like amazing, but I was looking at his stats last year, and maybe it's not that hard when you're throwing to Jeremiah Smith, but he's not been as bad as you would think from the word around him,
We're going to learn some stuff about Mr. Sayin in Austin, Texas in September. That's going to be a lot of fun because if our defense is what I think it can be, I think we're going to present a challenge for everyone we play. Hey, about that real quick in the zero-sum game of some of these reports. Colin Simmons getting like 5 sacks in a scrimmage. I mean, that's exciting. And I think it should be exciting to us because it reconfirms to Will Muschamp, like, maybe I don't want to drop this guy into coverage a lot or, even if we do, that's fine. But maybe does that move us more towards a 4-man front? Or do you think we're just going to be multiple and we're going to do it game week to game week and we're going to, but even when you do that, you're still going to have kind of a base. So what's our base going to be? Is it a 3-man front or is it a 4-man front?
I think it may be both. It may be almost
that's an evasive, squirrely answer.
I think it may just depend on what the offense is trying to do. I think if offenses are just like, we're going to run or throw quick or throw on max protection, then college football, as we've been noting for years, there really is limited value to having a dominant edge if the offense is only running RPOs and max protection and screens.
True.
Because the quarterback is never holding on to the ball for more than 3 seconds unless he's got like 80% of his roster blocking for him. So against teams that are doing that, then the 3-down base is great. And they can keep Simmons on the edge where he's still a threat, but drop him back a little bit. It seems like Lance Jackson is pivotal here because he can play on the edge or he can slide inside.
Yep.
And then if the team wants to throw or do anything that requires minimal protection of the quarterback, then you just flip and let Jackson and Simmons go at it. Right? That seems like why not just do it that way?
When we play the Buckeyes, I'm hoping to see a 4-man front out there. Because to me, the way you stop Jeremiah Smith is not just pure coverage, right? I mean, obviously you got to cover. You got to get to the quarterback. You got to disrupt. You got to cut the snake off at its head. And that's what Indiana did against Ohio State. Really, everyone that gave Ohio State trouble, they got to the quarterback. And I think that's the main way to disrupt that receiver group. That's going to be that's going to be a hell of a matchup, a great litmus test for both programs. So, all right, talk to me. I brought up one of my concerns / blessings. What's a takeaway that you got so far through spring?
I have a takeaway of still being unclear on what's going on in the offensive line. When you hear, like you noted a minute ago, Colin Simmons, it seems like when they let Colin Simmons on the field and they let him go, he's just destroying everything.
Yeah.
What does that mean about tackles and offensive linemen not named Trevor Gooseby?
In fairness, Gooseby, of course, is out.
Yeah.
We've got Coleman out there at left tackle, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we don't have Lawrence Seymour on campus. He's in Miami right now, basically finishing up school online and hopefully doing a bunch of workouts. So the thought would be Seymour and Gooseby being inserted into the lineup would considerably improve that offensive line. But
yeah,
we were talking about depth. We've got to develop a third tackle.
It doesn't create like a lot of warm feelings about where things are at. Now, Colin Simmons is the kind of player where, like, when A&M had Von Miller, they probably had trouble feeling good about anybody that played on the perimeter of their offensive line in practice, right? He's just one of those guys. But that gives you just a little bit of pause. The lack of deep ball reports seems to be more about playing a lot of two deep safeties, but it could also be they don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I keep hearing about the backup running backs and how great they are. You hear every once in a while, like, oh, Smothers good in pass protection, and Raleek Brown made a good run today. He got loose for a little bit. But most of the time, the reports are like, hey, Michael Terry III, he's a running back. He's going to stick here. And Derek Cooper, could be we think he might be the second coming of Jesus, So what is that related to? And how does that reflect on the offensive line? It's unclear to me.
I think one of the issues I have is, to me, in a sense, Jesus could do anything. But if he's limited to his physical corporeal body, I wouldn't put him at running back.
Put him at left guard, right?
Yeah.
Solve the problem.
I'm not suggesting he can't carry the load. That's obvious. But, I just want to be clear about where I'd put the Messiah. I think someone in the chat said bad footwear for it. That would have applied to everyone in that area at that time. Not great footwear in Syria, Palestina. So I want to ask about Michael Terry. Is this real? And if he is really a running back, what does that running back look like? There was a guy back in the day who probably a little before your time, a little before my time, frankly. I was like a little kid when he was really good. But he was actually an Ohio State player who went on to play for a long time with the Eagles. His name was Keith Byers. And he was kind of like a receiving running back, but like a big one. And he was almost like a proto H-back, running back, tight end. And he carved out a whole career based on that skill set. Is that kind of how we're envisioning Terry? Or is it as a pure runner? Like, what is he? What is he adding to us that Derek Cooper doesn't offer us?
Short yardage power, maybe, they're saying. I have some questions about whether a 6'3" guy is going to be great in short yardage.
Interesting.
Eric wrote about this recently with some notes on his play in the spring, and he compared him to Lil Jordan Humphrey, which makes all the sense in the world to me. Tall guy, played mostly running back in high school. And the key with Lil Jordan Humphrey was that he was perfect for Tom Herman's slot position. I don't know if there's a position in Sark's offense, because Sark chases extremes, right? His receivers are like vertical receivers. His tight ends are tight ends, and his running backs are running backs. There's not as much like, he's not getting a lot of hybrids on the field. He's more getting prototypes.
Yep.
So
I also think there's a psychological aspect, and I think this is brought up in the chat. It took me a second to actually discern this, and now it makes sense. Good comment from Richard McCleary. He says, is there some thought given to complimenting players that they don't want to transfer but are not necessarily starting? Meaning, and then I think Learned Hat offers, yes, the drawer with the gold stars is much bigger than the drawer with the NIL cash. Meaning, there's some guys that we may have plans for. We like their athleticism. Let's love them up a little bit in the press, irrespective of what they're doing, and let's retain them and keep them interested and keep them around, keep them engaged. So there's
I get that sense also with Diabell.
Yeah.
Because they seem very keen to always note, the sources are always noting that hey, Diabell is doing this and Diabell's doing that, and it's really good. And it's like, but KJ Lacey is gonna back up the quarterback. Yeah. They don't seem worried about massaging KJ Lacey, right? So
no, they've thrown him in, and it's probably going to be very good for him, and potentially, as you said, very good for this team. But I got to tell you, a guy who deserves nothing but gold stars, and he's going to save you a whole bucket of cash that you, of course, can turn into NIL, and that's Gabe Winslow. You can reach him at 832-557-1095. Hey, spring has sprung. Right now is the time to go start looking for houses. Obviously, we're going to have an interesting market. Rates have come down a good bit. They're probably going to come down in the future. So go buy your dream house, rent the rate, marry the house. And then I want you to consider going with the very best in the state of Texas. That's Gabe Winslow. Even if you're outside of Texas, you can give him a call. He's licensed in some other places. And he's actually such a good guy. And because he's a Longhorn alum and he knows you're a Longhorn fan, he'll just give you advice. So if you're living in Connecticut and you're buying a house and you're like, I don't really know how to do this, or is this a good rate, or is this guy screwing me over? Call Gabe. He'll just help you out because he's a good dude. How about that? More importantly, though, if you're buying a house in a place where he is licensed, like Texas, anywhere in Texas, this is the guy you want in your corner. Ian, this is the biggest financial decision 98% of us make in our lives. It's buying a house. It's where we're going to build wealth, equity. It's where you're going to raise people. It's not a bond. You don't live in a bond. So let's get the best possible deal makers on our side. It's absolutely imperative. 832-557-1095. All right, so speaking of deal making, let me throw you a question from left field here. If we could trade for anything or any asset in college football to make this team go over the top, what position would you look at? And do you even have a name or a player that you might covet?
Man, I have like two spots that come to mind.
Okay.
Interior line.
Mm-hmm.
I still think maybe having like a Heisman. Well, not what am I talking about?
Heisman guard.
Heisman guard, an All-American guard, or true inside linebacker. And which is a great place to be in.
I mean, honestly, if that's on your wish list, it's a lot better than saying quarterback, right?
Yeah, or corner. Like if we had one guy, if we had a guy that could play man coverage, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
you're already done. Your season is over. So that's great news. Would you add to that list, or do you have a preference on which of those two you would take?
A few weeks ago, before all the Jermaine Bishop news, and I was a huge Jermaine Bishop fan. I was like, dude, this is our best recruit when I saw his high school tape. He's just like, this guy's a freak, right? But then I was like, you're never sure it's going to level up, or is he physically mature enough? Can he handle being banged around? And then you start to hear the practice reports. Before that, I would have said Malachi Toney. Like, just having this dynamic playmaking slot with Cam outside and then Wingo being the guy, like, you're kind of like the complement between the two. That would be incredible. But now I don't feel that sense of urgency, right? Mm-hmm. So I think I'd go with where you are. I think I would probably, just to be safe, I think I'd go an interior offensive lineman. Just one more guy that I know is rock solid, just being absolutely sure. A true Mike linebacker might be my number 2, but I feel like there's ways we can kind of scheme around that. I might regret saying that, but people can play bully ball nowadays in college football, but it's not predominant, right? It just isn't. So, can we stop Georgia with some scheme and some different personnel? I feel like we can.
I've always felt that way. Now it's kind of when push comes to shove, right?
Yeah.
But also, you can tell that Muschamp is, so they got Cryer. They're getting him a lot of run. And it sounds like they're like, we think Cryer, we think we can just make it work with Cryer. And if it's not a risk, then where we don't even need Cryer, then great. Because everybody else just play dime, play Ty Anthony Smith, play Tyler Atkinson. And then they're also getting it sounds like they're really giving a lot of work to Rocky Cummings.
Yeah, they love him.
So it sounds like they think this guy could be what we need if we can just speed up his timeline enough. Not like to start, but just as insurance behind Cryer.
Yeah.
So it just seems like Muschamp, he knows this is a problem. He tried to retain Barnes. And he's going to, it's not the problems that you can see coming that end up being the problems in the moment. It's the ones you don't see coming. Muschamp sees it coming, and he's got his solutions worked out.
Did you envision Cummings as a potential Mike?
I don't watch recruits as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I watched him. I don't even remember what I thought of him.
He was played as like a pretty pure outside linebacker. He's a good rusher, blitzer, whatever. He can run. But with his size and his change of direction and his fluidity, he could play Mike in modern college football. And he would be the ideal because he's tall, but he's still mobile and he's big and strong. You could drop him into zone. He's going to be 6'4", putting his arms up when quarterbacks are trying to throw in RPO windows. Like, it's kind of what you want. And I think that's the plan. Not in 26, though. I think, to me, it seems like the Mike, hey, we got to stop the run. Let's go put in some guys. I think the plan is Cryer, Spence, and then failing those two, if it's not quite working out, then I think we just do it by personnel. Like, go put in 3 D tackles,
Yeah. Or load the box or whatever.
Load the box. Hey, just walk Jelani McDonald down. Derek, you're single high. So,
yeah. Or the other way, apparently. The other way has been working really well in spring, they say.
I think Sugar Poppy has a good comment in the chat. Actually, this is true. It's not the things you don't know that get you. It's the things you know for sure that just ain't so.
That's a quote, right? That's like a known quote.
I didn't know that. If it is, he can attribute it. If not, I'm going to attribute it to him. How dare you think Sugar Poppy couldn't come up with that on his own?
It's much pithier than what I already said. But that just ain't so. It just sounds like maybe something Daryl K. Royal said or something.
That's right. Well, I'm going to end with this. What is most likely that we think we know for sure that just ain't so?
I don't know if I know this for sure, but the run game having issues. We're not really talking like we anticipate that, but that could come back and bite us. I don't know.
Sugar Poppy has confessed that it's from The Big Short. So you were correct, Ian. Well
it's
done.
in the I don't remember that from
the movie The Big Short.
Yeah. I don't remember that line.
The more that this is my quant speech stuck with me more than that one. But we can't go into that.
I can't figure out which character would have said that with the Just Ain't So, with that sort of Southern kind of folksiness.
Okay. We got someone in the chat saying, I feel like we got duped and are getting ripped off. There's no actual spring game. For weeks, we were saying that there is. Nope, it's practice. We're talking about practice. It's true. No one feels more betrayed than me and Ian, but it does sound like we're going to have real live sessions.
Yes.
So we will learn some stuff from that. That's helpful. It's still helpful to see that.
The next thing is, will any of this be televised?
Well, yeah, right?
It has to be. I need
it's got to be. Or we're going to resign in protest.
Or else I'm going to see if I can pry Nash into, filming the whole thing like you did a couple of years ago.
Cleve Bryant isn't around there anymore to throw you out. So I think we could pull that off.
Well, I don't want to do it. I want somebody else to risk.
Oh, you want someone else to do it and have deniability. Yeah. Good.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I do think if there's a thing that I'd say we know for sure, I don't know if it actually fits this quote, but I would say this. We play football with quite a bit of friction. We get penalized a lot. We don't always execute inside the red zone or near the goal line. We've seen that quite a bit, right? Even though at the very beginning of Sark's career at Texas, we were like money there, right? Because of the Roshan cat. But I think the issue is not so much we tend to line up football like, look at our starters, look at our depth, look at these matchups. We've got good X's and O's. Hey, if we get 9 penalties, we can lose. Like that Miami Hurricanes team that played for the national title, they lost 2 ACC games. Like, if you're talented but don't execute and you're kind of dumb and you shoot, your magazine into your foot, you can lose. You're mortal. So I would say that would be the area that I want to see addressed, in addition to the talent bump, the depth bump, all these things that are very positive. Hey, we were a highly penalized team last year. Now, was that a function of not being very good in some areas and we're holding too much? Maybe. Doesn't explain all the false starts. Does it?
No, that's been fairly consistent for 6 years now.
I would like to see it not be fairly consistent. I think it hurts us. What do you think?
That could be. The trouble I have with that is that those have been problems for the last few years and they've still been pretty good. So I don't know if that can, it hasn't quite shown the power to cripple the season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. In the private chat, our esteemed producer is telling us currently there is no official television broadcast scheduled for this open practice. All right, we're going to send in our moles. We got to send in our spies because we need some freaking practice. We need some data. I don't like this secondhand nonsense, Ian.
Wouldn't it be like SEC Network or something?
I would hope.
I've seen televised Michigan practices on Big Ten Network that are garbage.
Yeah, Ole Miss had a spring celebration jamboree where they did a dunk contest on an 8-foot rim. If they're going to televise that, someone better develop a little entrepreneurial bootstrap, get out there and film it. Just make it part of your Twitch. Come on, let's get a little internet entrepreneur out here. Let's go. All right.
We're gonna figure this out, Paul.
One way or
another, we're gonna get. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get a copy of this.
Well, with the help of our viewers, with the help of our listeners, if you're listening to this on a podcast, we need your help. We need you to subscribe. We need you to like. We need you to comment. We love to hear from you. And frankly, we need you to send this to other people. We think we've got some good stuff on this channel. We want you to subscribe and we want you to tell others about it. And we want to see you at Inside Texas. 50% off bundle. Unbelievable. The ultimate fan bundle Some of you claim to be Ultimate fans, yet you're not at Inside Texas. Explain that. And most importantly, here's why you want to join the Inside Texas community. This is freaking tailgate giveaway. Unreal. Blackstone Grill. Hey, this is really being featured before this Texas A&M series that we've got coming up. It's the Ultimate Inside Texas Tailgate Giveaway brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. We're going to give away this Blackstone Grill, Yeti cooler, 2 tumblers, 2 chairs, a canopy for asymmetrical drone warfare. Go to Inside Texas Instagram to enter. Link is in the description. Winner is going to be picked after that Texas A&M series, which we are going to win 2-1. Just wanted to tell you guys that. We're going to lose Friday. We're going to lose the opening night as we always do, and then win the next 2. That's how we roll, Ian. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Did you see the Sugar Poppy confessed it was attributed to Mark Twain?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That explains the little twanginess and the folks.
Couldn't imagine like Carell or Gosling saying that in that movie. It just was not something, They're also in New York.
I think folksy wisdom. Anytime you hear folksy wisdom, good chance it's Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Good chance if it's unattributed. All right, y'all. Hey, this has been our own attempt at offering some folksy wisdom about spring game, where we are right now in spring practice, and what looks like could be a very exciting 2026 Texas football season. Keep joining us. We will see you on the deep dive. And for Ian Boyd, this is me saying, hook 'em.